Starmer greatest threat? This is the Telegraph, greatest threat to free speech in British history. And you have to believe that he is, because he's saying he's got a whole crew of people looking at Twitter. He's got a whole crew of people looking at the media and all the different things and making sure we say the right things, that we don't incite violence. I mean, the guy is he's bad. He's an absolutely bad.
How's he? What are some of the ways he's going to restrict free speech?
He's going to say you can't say anything. You can't.
Is that what he said in his?
Basically, Farage said you cannot say anything that is guaranteed. He said the way he said it was different than this. Guaranteed to be true. You can always make a mistake.
Yeah.
And so if you say something that's a mistake, are you suddenly going to be put in jail because it made people worried or something?
Well, yeah, I think Farage is speaking to the fact that there was an information vacuum in the wake of the killings of those girls. Absolutely horrific killings. That obviously, across the nation, everybody was furious. Everybody wanted answers. We still don't know what the motive was. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to come out during the trial process at some point. And we know for a fact that if it had been a white guy had stabbed, gone into a mosque or something like that, then immediately all the people who are saying don't speculate would have been doing a whole lot of speculating.
They wouldn't have been speculating.
No, they would have been. They would have been saying this is motivated. No, they would have. They absolutely would have been saying, this is motivated by, Brexit, far right, whatever. Andrew Tate. They would have reeled off the usual list of people to blame.
If that's about the speculation, but they're giving information about the person that's been arrested. There's a legal process, legal precedent set about not wishing to ruin the trial. That's why the information doesn't come out. And especially when the police would have known that the person they got was 17, you don't give information about the person if they're underage. Now, it turns out it was like 3 days underage by the time you got to see a judge, which makes sense actually naming him. But, I mean, none of that. You can have the debate about how our system works, but at the moment, our system works to preserve information to get a good conviction in trial. And no one seems to be talking about that in there, just saying it's all about... Now, I don't agree with what Starmer's doing. There is a risk to freedom of speech, but a lot of this information wasn't coming out, so the questions weren't quite as valid because they shouldn't come out. There is no legal obligation to tell the media stuff that's happening. There is an obligation to get a good conviction.
But moving on to the next story, Steve, because this is also about the, Starmer's plans to restrict social media, restrict information, and it goes beyond just making sure that there's a fair, unbiased trial for this one person. It's much more about the monitoring and regulation of the internet and bringing in rules around legal but harmful, which doesn't even make any sense. Like we can understand what legal is, but harmful, that can mean...
Is that a crime?
Yeah, a horse riding lesson on YouTube, is that harmful because people fall off horses?